Hey guys, we're talking Chad and Michelle. We got George in studio. Stay tuned. We got some bomb topics.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What up, AfterBuzz? It's your boy DJ Jesse J here in studio. We're talking Chad Loves Michelle, season 1, episode 2, Fish Out of Water. I'm joined in studio by Miss Conversation Peace.
Hello, hello. And
Hey, Bo.
I'm joined with a good friend of mine. He stopped by. He's happened to be on the show. And he's here.
Just stumble by.
George.
What up,
Hi.
y'all? I'm so happy to be here today.
Thanks for
George,
coming.
give your phone name so we don't just know you as George.
My full name is George Potts Young. You can look me up, and I would love to talk to you.
All right.
Or ignore your comment. Either way. I'm just playing. Either one.
It's gonna be a fun one.
Cha-ching. All right, so this episode, we're gonna dive into it. Basically, Chad and Michelle, we saw how the proposal came about, and in this episode, she's gonna go visit Chad's family. So, George, rewind it back for us a little bit. How are you friends with Michelle? How did you and Michelle become friends?
Okay, so this story is really crazy. If we were like lovers, it would be an amazing love story, but unfortunately, we're not. No, not unfortunately, because that's my sister. So unfortunately, it would be nasty. Fortunately, we're not lovers and we're just brother and sister. No, but I produce a stage in New Orleans for the Essence Music Festival. It's like the largest Black R&B festival in the country. And so getting ready for the festival, I'll contact the artist or management, depending on who the point person is. And so it just so happened that she had a manager, but I hit her. We already followed each other on social media, but we had never met each other or anything like that. So I sent her a DM like, yo, I've been hitting your manager. They're not getting, so she hit me, called me private. She didn't want me having her phone number. She didn't want the weird producer boy to have her phone number.
You know, they got to stake you out first.
Right. So she called me the first time. We talked about some music. The next time we talked about music, and then talked like about more personal stuff. You know, it just naturally started talking. And literally maybe about a month after we were getting prepared for this festival, I got this phone call from this number that I didn't know. So I'm like, I don't know what it is. So I, like the rest of us, didn't know if it was a bill collector, Sally Mae calling me.
Voicemail.
Nobby, it's now. So I let it go to voicemail, and when I checked it, she was like, hey, this is your big sister. And I'm like, okay. So I called her back, and literally when we first saw each other, when she got in town and came to her sound check, it was like, oh my God, we were already super close by then because we had talked so much and talked about a lot of deep things. And it's weird because we were both at places, like transitional places in our lives. Like I had just quit a 12-year job at that time, and she was transitioning and about to do her solo album, and so
that's what I was going to ask. So it was after the Destiny's Child phase where she was working on her own project?
Yes. So it was, in fact, it was literally right after Super Bowl when Beyonce did Super Bowl and they came. So it was all during that time. And I had just met Beyonce too, you know what I'm saying? Took a picture with her.
So you met everybody.
Yeah,
He was a whole crew.
But I actually met Beyonce first, and that story is crazy too, but performed with Beyonce at Coachella. Go back and look.
He's
Wait,
amazing.
you performed? Wait,
This
go ahead.
guy.
Speak on it. We here.
Keep going.
Right
Yeah,
about you too.
so this year, for Coachella, I sang background for Beyonce, and we danced, of course, and did everything, and that was like one of the most
iconic
dopest
moments.
experiences ever, especially for me. I'm like, it wasn't necessarily, I didn't dream about becoming a musician or a singer. I just did it in church with my mother and family. But looking back, I'm like, yeah, I was kind of creative for this. I don't really want to do it no more. But, kind of once you put Beyonce on the resume, it's like, okay, you drop the mic after that. Literally drop the mic and go on to something else, So.
So tell me something about Michelle, being her friend, very close to her now. Tell me something about her, because me just being in episode 1 and 2, I got to see her personality. I never got to see it before.
That's because you wasn't paying attention to Destiny's Child. You was just looking at Beyonce. I know. Michelle was my favorite because Michelle seemed like the girl that you could sit on the side and key with.
Yeah. The thing I love about Michelle, I tell everybody, I'm like, she literally has probably the biggest, well, not probably, she has the biggest personality out of all of them. Like, she's super, you see it now. A lot of people. One good thing, and I think your last episode, it was certain things I should have took notes like y'all be taking notes. So I I'm gonna come and say something to them, and the person I wanted to say. Anyway, so
When Jesus said yes.
no, but she's one of those type of people. Literally, when she came into Destiny's Child, she literally was like, okay, what's my role? And she was cool in that. And one thing I love about her, she's never tried to be anybody but herself. You said that. Like, she loves Beyonce. She loves Kelly. But she loves being Michelle. You get what I'm saying? So that actually prevents you from having a lot of, problems or issues when you know what your role is. So she was super cool, did her part, and chilled. A lot of people didn't get to see her as far as her personality that I've gotten to experience her. First of all, she's literally the best friend anybody could have, but she's so much freaking fun. Like, she's literally one of the funnest people. And although she takes it a little easy on people on social media, like, really, her clapbacks, like, if you really want, like, her clapback game is super strong. You know
I think she's good being classy. I don't want her to be getting on Instagram like,
but she got them clapbacks, though. She got them.
See, I'm Raj. I want Michelle. Michelle, I'm here for that. I know you're gonna get married now, but before you do, like, let's have one good old Saturday.
But you can still be married to a pastor and clap back a little bit. Just say at the end, "Amen," or "I'm praying for you" or something. But you go ahead and
Just do it with your prayer cloth when you rub your prayer cloth.
with the holy water.
Because she does her church hands. My favorite thing when Michelle's her little church hands, and she go like that.
Right. So yeah, she's just amazing and a good cook.
Look at the pearl clutch.
Look at it. Yeah, she's a great cook. She's fun, very loving and compassionate, and super supportive. Like, we go places, and when she introduces me to people, she always wants them like, he does this, he does. I'm like, look,
That's
keep
good. She's
talking,
like a PR
but
person.
keep talking, but just chill. You know what I'm saying? Keep telling them about me. Tell them how great I am. But
Tell me what's next for you, because I heard you say a couple times, you're like, I don't really want to do this.
yeah.
What do you want to do?
So I've been doing a lot of public things. Like, the show was cool. Initially, I was only supposed to do maybe, like, I don't know how. I wasn't supposed to do as much as I've done, so I don't know how much they're gonna edit. Hopefully
Well,
they
Lord, we
keep me.
need some people, other people on the show, because I'm like. I saw Adrian for like 2 seconds. She was like, "Oh, girl, I don't even remember that she was friends with anybody." So I like your relationship with Michelle because I
Right.
think it shows the different side of Michelle.
Yeah.
I think it shows the real side of her
yeah.
versus like when you're getting to know somebody, you're in a relationship. Yeah, there's a realness to it, but there's also like this.
Especially when it's new.
Yeah, and especially going to meet his family, like you put on
Yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So to see you guys kind of break down how she was really feeling.
Exactly. Yeah, and friends, it's like with any relationship. You're gonna have a different relationship with your. Let me tell y'all something. Hold on. I do not have a speech impediment. I just have a retainer in that makes me sound like that. Just
You called it out because I wasn't even paying attention.
I'm just
now
making
I'm
sure
gonna
because
listen to every.
people be liking to leave comments, and I'm like, now look, I go back and read it all. No, seriously.
That's
but
fine.
no,
you let them talk. Because
yeah.
guess what they're doing? Watching.
Come on.
Hello. Keep watching, guys.
right?
Thanks
But-
for the support.
Exactly. No, but what were we saying?
What
We
your
were
next
saying-
step of what you
Oh,
want to
my
get into?
next step. So Michelle is actually helping me produce a musical. Like, I love Broadway. She's actually about to go to Broadway
Yep.
at the end of this month. She starts in a Broadway musical. But I wrote a musical about basically the birth of gospel music in America. So it's presented in a way of just like any other Broadway musical where they're singing and they're dancing and they're acting and all of that, but the content of it and the message of it still has like a faith-based message, but some juicy stuff even behind gospel stuff. So I'm excited about that. Presented that, pitched it maybe about a month ago, and it got picked up by a production company. So I'm looking forward to that. And
Congratulations.
That's
big.
Yeah, I
That's
want to get
epic.
more into like writing for film and TV and I
Looking
love
for the coin,
music.
the big coin.
Like, I love music, but I love creating. So I like things that are all encompassing of the music and all of that.
You're
So,
like, I sang for
yeah.
Beyonce. I'm good. We're moving on.
I'm just
I'm ready to
saying,
produce my own show.
I didn't touch Beyonce, so I did not. Okay, never mind. But anyway, yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk about. Let's reverse it back. So you're friends with Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
Chad comes into her life now. You know what I mean? You was like, hold up, third
Yeah,
wheel. Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna write a song about
Straight
it.
up.
We get protective over our
Right,
friends.
right.
And so how does your game plan kind of go into meeting someone that you have such a love for, you're
Right.
guarded over them.
Right.
So you see someone like Chad come in, it's like, okay, like I see the pastorness, but like,
Right.
what's your real
Like, what's
concern?
really up? Yeah. It's weird. The way I found out about Chad, she didn't. So when she went to the conference up in in the mountains, because I went actually this year, which is where I first saw him in person. Because I had seen him on FaceTime before, but I went with her this year. We took a road trip from here to Arizona. Me and her
Whoa, that should have been
drove in the
filmed.
car. So, but before that, when she went and came back last year, she was like telling me about it, and she was sending pictures of everybody. But she kept sending me pictures of Chad. She's like, "This is the guy that's over it." And I'm like, "Okay,
Another person.
right? A light-skinned guy, okay, a light-skinned black guy. See plenty of them. No, but she was sending those pictures, whatever, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. Next thing I know, like because she wasn't living in LA yet, so she would be in town. I'll be hanging out at the hotel, and then the FaceTime call rings differently than your regular phone call. So I keep this FaceTime thing keeps, so I'm like, who is FaceTiming her? So I look over there and I see the name Chad, but she kept ignoring it. Now, I didn't remember that the guy's name was Chad. So I'm like, who is this Chad guy? So one night we were talking in the hotel room just laughing, and she was like, oh, okay, I think I'm going to go to sleep. Are you putting me out your room? You've never done this before. But that FaceTime kept calling. So I said, who is this person? So finally, me being the invasive, overbearing, just crossing all bounds, I'm like, who is Chad? Who? And she was like, oh, it's just my friend. It's just my friend. And then maybe about 3 weeks later, she was like, Chad is the pastor. I'm like, what?
I made a salad for him. At the last
right.
conference.
I'm like, she was on her first lady game early. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No, but yeah. So I was looking forward to meeting him. The stuff that she was saying, and I know she's very smart and sharp, and so I knew she wouldn't get involved with no fool. You know what I'm saying? But the way she had already started to feel about him, and and talking, the things she started saying about him, I just immediately was like, okay, he seems like he's cool, and like I said, I'm one of those friends. Get you some real friends that ask questions, like the real hard questions that even if I don't care how infatuated or in like you are at that point, you need friends that's going to really ask some real questions to protect you. Because sometimes when you really, really want somebody or something, you kind of block out the stuff that, yeah. And we've all been there.
Blinders.
Were you able to grill Chad like how Grandpa Jim, what is his name? Grandpa Jim? Like Grandpa Jim got to Michelle, were you able to grill him?
Yeah. So me and Chad have had a few conversations. I'll say this. You guys are going to see, if they keep it, a scene of me and Chad sitting down and talking for the first time.
I want that.
A little, yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you go back to that clip that you just pulled up? I wish we had like little typewriters to type to you. I want to see that clip because I think this clip from tonight. Let's play this clip. This is where Chad and Michelle. We'll talk about the editing after this. They talk to their little therapist about the fight that happened last night.
Understand why I communicate the way I do. Maybe because you didn't grow up around a lot of black people, and so that was very, very offensive to Chad. He talked about a moment of how I said it's because I'm black and you're white and you don't know how black people talk. So he didn't like that.
So this is going to be an important theme for us to talk about the issue of race.
Yeah.
Right? And figuring out what's race and what's individual.
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
Okay. So Chad, tell me what your honest thoughts are.
To me, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, green, yellow. It doesn't matter.
And
You
right
know
there,
that
let's end it
the
on
other
that.
person-
It does matter. Why does it matter? Because we're having a conversation about it. And I loved that when they went to Dolores, which we're going to forget that name, but when they went there, that it was almost like his other family was telling him, like, we live in a bubble. Right. So, like, when you say race doesn't exist, like, that's you living in your white bubble.
Yeah.
So I love that this is being brought up because it made him, it looked like it made him so uncomfortable to have the conversation. And I'm sure he does. Like you said, you thought he was a light-skinned black person
Right.
walking around.
Yeah, everybody does it. Like, everybody thinks that he's mixed or
Yeah.
that he's black. Nobody, even people that I know, like, personally, they're like, oh, he's white.
Yeah.
Like, he's red, white. Yeah.
So
He's a ginger.
that's why he bald. No, I'm just kidding. I love that they had this conversation. I wish, and because I did Love and Hip Hop for far too long, to question and wonder if this was actually videotaped. And Michelle was like, we can talk about it and review it, but we ain't putting that on camera. I would love to know that, because I would have loved to have genuinely seen this argument, because I think they're two responsible people who could have that fight on camera and then have this discussion. And I think that's so important in today's day and age, because I think a lot of reality TV will just show the fight and never have the conversation afterwards. But what did you guys, because I'm sure she had this conversation with you, like,
I had the conversation with her before. I didn't, because a lot of stuff, to be honest, I didn't know that they were sharing certain things on here. So her and I, we had the conversation before this ever aired or whatever, you know. So my perspective on it was this. She was saying, well, I feel like, you know, he needs to understand, you know, this is just the way black people talk. And I was like, well, you have to understand, too, because you're in a relationship with him, you have to understand the way white people listen or how he listens. You get what I'm saying? So we had, the only way I could kind of connect it, because she was like, well, if I go to China, I don't know if she said this or others, but she was like, if I go over to another country, I don't have to learn their language. I said, yeah, but when you go over there, you're coming back to your country. In a relationship, you're staying. So y'all have to learn how to be able to communicate with each other on a level that's understandable and respectful, and you know. So I think that the race conversation is super dope, though, because we're in a day and time where we need to talk about it and figure out how do we get past it. One thing that I don't like when people say they don't see color. Because to me, I'm like, well, if you don't see color, then you don't see me, because I'm colorful. You know what I'm saying? Pretty brown. I'm a tad bit brown. So if you can't see color, then you don't see me, you know? But I love the fact that Chad is very active with his ministry. He has a lot of connections with black people, with white people, with Asians, with literally every race. So that made me feel really, really good. And I think that this could possibly be a great movement that they may be in front of, because they're two people, and by them being in the spotlight now, it's like really bringing light to this topic and to this issue if we allow it to be an issue. So
I think it's really important to have this conversation, because I feel like a lot of people who are in that bubble, they like to say, oh, racism is not an issue anymore, or get over it, or we're in 2018 now. But it's like Michelle said, there's also the subtle racism. Like there's that, oh, if you come to work with dreadlocks,
well,
you know,
even just the way. Have you ever been pegged as the angry black woman just because you're like, wait, I'm passionate
angry,
about what
but
I'm
not
talking
because
about.
I'm black, because of how you're treating me or because of how you're acting. It's not because I'm angry, because I enjoy my life. I love life, and I'm a very loving person. But I also demand respect.
Yes,
and people take that loud voice or assertiveness and say, oh, you're aggressive, you're crazy, or you're mean, or whatever, and that's not the case. I have to fight for myself, and I had to fight for myself in so many instances. So it's just like that bubble that bothers me. It's like you gotta open your mind up.
So do you feel like there's a place where now we're coming to a place where in 2018, the media, the world is just kind of taking that and pulling the covers off of it for there to be discussion. And it's already like, all right, y'all have already gone through this for so many freaking years, but does it bother you, or does it get to a point where it's like, okay, you know what? Like, what was it? They said, do not... what was that one sentence? I was like, okay, you know what? It was like about ignorance. It was like, don't get mad at...
Oh, don't judge. She was basically saying don't judge them for where they lack knowledge, basically.
Yes. Yeah. Do you ever get to that point of like, okay, like you can kind of judge people, like it's like, okay, you just don't know better. I'm going to give you this one quick little one-upper, and then if you hit me a second time, then we got an issue.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel like,
especially with dating,
if you're ignorant to a fact, I can kind of understand and try to educate you on it. But at the end of the day, you've been around white people who've said some things about black people, and you know that people are saying things about us in a derogatory way. So for you to say, not you, any person to say, oh, racism doesn't exist, that's
We'll
crazy
talk
to
about
me.
Chad, because I think it's so interesting that people perceive him a certain way. Like you said, I'm sure his ministry is that of many races.
Oh, yes, yeah.
But he predominantly looks like he's probably hung out with a lot of black people. So I think it's so interesting for him being what? I mean, they're pushing 40, I would say?
Yeah, he's already 40.
Yeah, like you're old enough to know this discussion. So I just thought it was so interesting to him when she brought up, like, am I going to be the only black? Like, yeah, probably. You probably are.
Right.
Like, it might feel a little uncomfortable where we're going, but my family's cool.
Yeah.
They're open. It might be a little awkward because this is new. Like, to me, that should have been his. I'm surprised that wasn't his
Take on it.
narration.
Well,
Yeah.
see, I think because with Chad, once again, sometimes it's hard to forget that this person is not you, or they don't have your mind or your perspective. And with Chad, he grew up in a place where there was not, he didn't grow up racist. You know what I'm saying? And he's been around so much. And like, I think Chad forgets that he's white sometimes. Seriously, because he's around black people. So
Yeah.
for him, it's like, even when they were talking about the whole black and white conversation, he's like, I don't care that you're black. And it's not about, I don't think his thing was, you're communicating in a black way. I think he just was like, I don't like when you communicate like that. But because race is a sensitive thing, then automatically you're gonna feel that is it the black thing? Because that's the first thing you think, like, is that what's causing the division? It's like, no, just put your finger down.
But for him
You
to
know?
even say, like, when they get into an argument and he's like, oh, you're acting crazy because you're black, or you're getting loud with me, like, that's something that's.
I don't think he said that.
No, I think it
did
was.
say-
I think it was
he didn't say that.
interpreted.
She said that.
I think
Oh,
she
yeah.
interpreted it like
Yeah,
that.
I think,
because
yeah.
she in that moment she felt attacked.
Yeah.
And then he brought the meds up, and you. Let me tell you,
Chad.
you never.
Don't call your woman crazy, period.
And that's calling her crazy. When you're like, did you take your... Even if it was in a caring way, you should have waited 3 hours later. Like, hey, babe.
Now, baby,
Did you want me to take your pills
Right.
tonight before we go to bed?
Well, the guy at the end of the episode,
I'm gonna pray for you, Pastor.
For real, good.
who the doctor assigned them to meet with, he even said it. You know, I'm in this white bubble, but I have to know where my wife is coming from, and I feel like because I don't know if Chad has had other interracial relationships.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, so he should know. What's going
But that's
on?
what I'm saying. I don't think he doesn't know.
Oh,
I
okay.
think maybe Michelle felt like he didn't really fully understand. He's like, look now, I done been with some chocolates in my time. You feel me?
But she's smart. She's
Yeah.
like quick.
No,
with it.
she's super smart.
You can tell
super
she's
smart,
like he said,
yeah.
a cutter. She
Yeah.
goes
She's
to the
super
library often.
Snip, snip. No, I'm just playing.
And Chad, if you ain't careful. All right, let's talk about this trip. So they go to see Grandpa Jim, who's like a father figure to Chad after his father passed. Little Grandpa Jim, he was the mayor in the 80s. He was too cute. He was looking like a Pixar movie. He looked like a little Pixar
love
character just
Grandpa
walking on up
Jim.
with them trousers. He's the type of person I'd be like, I'm wearing trousers. Let's take a little look at the clip from their ride to Grandpa Jim's.
2018.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Look at that guy.
Hello. I'm about to see Brandon, who I've met before at Chad's mom's house, and of course, the famous Grandpa Jim.
It's so good to see you. This is my fiance, Grandpa. How you doing?
I'm well, sir. Chad looks up to Grandpa Jim so much, and I don't know the type of woman that Grandpa Jim was imagining for Chad, so I hope I make the cut.
So this is it. This is our stomping ground, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
No place like Granny and Grandpa's.
So now, did Michelle bring back any beet wine for you, or
Definitely not. But
dandelion wine? Which I've never seen people take shots of wine before.
I know.
But let me tell you, I told her, I said, the only place I need something back from named after a person, they have to be like Tenitra, Alabama, or Lakeisha, Mississippi. Dolores, Colorado.
I'm sorry. I want some beet wine because it sounds healthy. Like it's like red wine.
I feel
but
like
it's
it'll get
beets.
me lit, and I'm down for wobbly legs.
That was the best part. I love that.
But this is the thing. Michelle meets the family. I think they received her well. I think she didn't have anything to worry about.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, when she got there, I think she felt that. But, you know, going into something, you don't know what to expect. And the population, I think, when we looked it up,
934 people. But wait, where's Michelle from originally?
she's from Rockford, Illinois.
I don't know what
Is
that
that small?
population.
Is that
It
close to
sounds
Detroit or
sounds
something?
small.
Rockford
Chicago?
it's a suburb of Chicago. Definitely not Detroit. But
It's close
It's
to
all right.
Chicago.
she did get a good education. We went to school together. I know that for sure. but yeah, it's not a small place like that though. No, Rockford probably is it's a suburb, but it's a pretty large suburb, I would
It's
think.
funny because I grew up in a very small town, but my town is a reservation for this tribe, the Wampanoag tribe, and anytime I bring a friend over, they're like, "Where the fuck are you taking me? Like, we gotta drive from Boston down here. There's no lights. There's we in the woods."
Yeah.
So I think for her to go to this town where already she's talking about race walking into this. And even the little subliminal things that, she notices that I wonder if Chad noticed, like the airport thing was interesting that she was like, everyone got to walk in front of me, then they're going to check me
Right.
Well, Michelle, that's when you be like, do you know who I am?
Right.
First,
I don't think
She's
you
so
ready.
humble, she won't ever pull that card. She won't ever be
No.
like, I'm from Destiny's Show.
No, and that's why I love her, because I feel like she's that humble. But then to go to a town like this, I mean, I would be scared. That looked like the hatchet gonna come cut me, or somebody gonna
But
creep
that's
up.
another thing that the family was talking about, trusting your spouse. So
Yeah.
for him to bring her there, he's gonna protect her, right?
yeah.
So I think that's one reason she wasn't
Yeah.
scared.
No, definitely. I think that she trusts Chad, and I mean, I trust him, so I know he would definitely look out for her. So I wasn't worried about that part. But it's just interesting to see what would happen, because those places like that. I mean, 9 times out of 10, she probably was the only black person all while she was
Do you think
there.
if something was to happen, if someone in that town were to like, oh, this little black girl, who is she? Why is she here? How would Chad react and protect her in an instance like that? For him to say, oh, this bubble that I live in,
My
I've
wife.
never.
This is my wife.
Chad knows how to sea walk, and I'll just leave it there.
Do
If
not
he
do
needs to
that.
And
be
he has
That's the-
pectoral muscles. He might can knock somebody out.
Yes, pectoral muscles. In the name of Jesus. All right, so he got to have a little conversation with Grandpa Jim. Sounds like Grandpa Jim and Grandma, they had a great relationship.
Solid thing, yeah.
Brandon, you was real nervous to be on TV, I could tell, but I still have love for you.
Brandon said he ain't no reality star, so he was just doing what he was asked to do. Don't do
Yeah.
Brandon.
No, but seriously, you could see, he was
was
like,
like-
all right.
Even the
Shady.
little girl, she's
At one
like,
point,
no, don't marry Michelle.
let me tell you, children speak their parents' truth.
Don't they just be saying anything? I'm like,
I was like, she looked at a child like,
I almost snatched her up through the TV. You be quiet. I'm trying to get her married. You get on it. Sit down.
Now,
Go play with that
that's one thing I
iPad.
want to ask, because if you really love someone, how big of an influence is the family to what your decision is?
Don't know.
Because if Uncle Jim don't like Michelle, what does that mean?
Yeah,
Chad
Uncle Jim
doesn't love
de-
Michelle
sure
anymore?
does.
Definitely Grandpa, because Uncle Jim, we don't know who that is.
Yeah.
But
Is it Grandpa?
Yes,
Jim.
Grandpa Jim.
I mean, I thought it was
Uncle Jim makes him sound real creepy. Uncle Jim coming to town.
Oh, you gotta meet Uncle Jim.
Be like, why the fuck does Uncle Jim's opinion matter? Like,
No, I think that. Hey, George.
look at George. Just play George's clip real quick so we can just see George. Go ahead.
Ticket.
Right, I'm gonna send it to you.
No, you're not.
So
Wait a minute.
catch me up on everything.
Well, I'm headed to Colorado, to Chad's hometown where he was born and raised. Chad is taking me to Colorado to meet Grandpa Jim and to see his brother Brandon again, and I cannot wait to meet Chad's childhood friend.
Are you nervous? Do you feel like you're in a place where you're ready to go meet family? Like coming off of everything that you've come off of, getting out the hospital, you feel like you're ready?
Well, I know that I'm not ready to get out there and do public appearances,
Right.
but we're excited. Lord, we're still engaged.
What was it like watching yourself on TV? Were you ever like,
Well, I've
See
seen
yourself on
myself
reality?
on TV before because I've performed with a couple.
but
of big
no,
people.
as a reality star?
I've done reality before, just that same thing as a friend. One of my friends, I worked for Eric and Tina Campbell at different times, Mary. So they had a show. So one of their sisters is one of my best friends too. So I did that show a few times. But you're always your worst critic. So I'm like, ugh, why did I wear that? Why did I say that like that? Oh my God. Like I was thinking like, oh my God, my mom is gonna hear me talk about dry humping.
What'd you call it?
Fried dump. But let me
dump.
tell you though, what's crazy is when people started tweeting me and like posting things, I do not remember saying that. I don't remember that.
that's so
I
funny.
definitely don't remember the Stinger conversation, because see, all of that stuff we filmed that like during Coachella actually. So some of that I'm just like, I didn't remember any of that stuff, but for the most part it was a very enjoyable process. You are very initially aware, because at first I was a little nervous, like, oh my God, okay, where the camera, let me look, But then after a while, you just forget, and that's why I'm like, thank God for good editing, because some stuff you be saying, you be like, please don't let that part air. I shouldn't have said that right there.
Right.
Church folks, so.
Before we finish the rest of the episode, I want to ask you about Michelle going through this depression that she had. As her friend, because she had mentioned when she went away, you hadn't seen, and then it was like a month or something afterwards that she hadn't seen you.
Literally that first episode, that was really for real my first time seeing her after she had been hospitalized. A lot of people ask like, is that staged? I'm like, no. Like I was out of town doing Essence, and then I came back in town literally like maybe 2 days before we filmed, So when I saw her, that was really my first time. I'm like, oh my God, my friend, But it was, I was glad to see her, that she looked well. Now we had spoken, of course, but
was that the first time you heard about her depression though?
Oh no,
Okay.
no, because she's been open about it in the last few years about struggling with depression and her feelings at certain times in her life. So no, I knew that she dealt with that. But
what would you say is the biggest stem from it that she, like as a friend, complains the most about? Like, this bothers me about myself,
right.
Like when it comes to depression.
To be honest, I don't think that it's a thing that bothers her about herself. I think maybe and honestly speaking, sometimes when you're dealing with mental issues, you don't know where the stem is from until you talk to somebody, because we have childhood things and we have things that we went through. She's talked about her childhood and growing up and seeing certain things that threw her off. So I think that in life, one thing that I've learned is that issues do not go away if you don't fix them.
Amen.
They just grow with you. Somebody was telling me the other day, like, but I'm 40 years old now and I should be over X, Y, and Z. I said, well, no, because X, Y, and Z is now 40 years old too. You just didn't fix that. So that grows with you. So you have to fix what it's a Bible verse that I love, and it basically says, faith the size of a mustard seed can move a mountain. One thing I've learned is that if you don't face the mountain, it will not move. So even though you have enough faith to move a mountain, you still have to face that mountain. And sometimes as people, we're afraid to face that mountain because it's embarrassing or it's shameful or, it's too hard to, look in the mirror and deal with you. But once you can do that, then that's when your issues will start, fixing themselves, or you'll be able to get to the answers or the solution. So, I think that with her, definitely she's doing great. Much better. And I think that through this process with Chad, and this is why I think he's a good match for her, because they can look at each other and be reflectors of each other.
Yeah.
So because they're so close, even though I was mad about that at first, because I felt like, Chad is kind of taking my place, you know what I'm saying?
His sister looking like she gonna say that next week.
I'm just like, but I think that, right. All right, sis.
So do you think the production was a part of releasing the hospital visit? Because I remember her saying in the episode that she was forced to talk about it. Yeah, she wasn't sure like where it came from, how it got into the public.
Right.
Do you think it was?
Yeah, because I remember last week y'all were talking about that, trying to figure out. No, I actually have my thoughts of where I think it came from. I do not think it was the production, because at that point we were not filming. So they really wouldn't have gained anything from that at that point, And when she went and checked in, because actually I had not spoken with her. So I found out about it through somebody sent me a message and said, oh my God, is this true? And I'm like, what? So then that's when I started sending texts and stuff, because I was still out of town and just kind of in my, doing my thing or whatever. But no, I actually don't think it was the production company. I don't think it was the network. I think that, sometimes you go to places and they release certain things,
like
or a person that works somewhere, they could release something. Because
Little change.
And one thing I know about Michelle also, she's not like an attention whore. She's not a media whore. So she doesn't need those kind of like, things to, okay, let's create some buzz, no pun intended, AfterBuzz. But yeah.
That's another thing we were talking about last week, as far as like having friends. You don't have to talk to them every day, but you're still there for her. If something's going on, you're going to check on her. You're going to pick up where you left off.
Right.
So talk about like that. And also, I really want to get that answer about family being a deciding factor on who you are marrying and who you're dating.
Let me tell y'all something. Family is important because you want your family to be accepting of your person. But please keep in mind that you're not marrying the family. So they may not approve. They may not like that. All of that is fine and dandy. But when it comes to you and your happiness, this is who you have to live with and you have to sleep with and you have to partner with and trust and bills and all of that. The person your mama want for you may be a whore or not good with money or a thief or you just never know. So that's why I say, you know, it's good to consider, especially if the family has a good, you know, mindset. However, it should not be a determining factor because you're grown and you should be grown enough to make your own decisions.
Amen.
But but it was something else we were talking about that was about to get juicy.
The
friend thing.
Yeah.
Well, see, with me and Michelle, we're the type of friends that talk regularly. But I have best friends that I have best friends
Like
that I
me
don't
and
talk
you.
to. Right. I have best friends that I literally talk to once a month
Yeah.
or whenever, and we're still best friends. We grew up together, and you know. But with Michelle and B and Kelly, they are real, genuine. I wouldn't even call them friends. They're sisters. Like they rock hard together. You know, Michelle talks to them regularly. They're very supportive of her. Everything that she does, they support. Even when with this last tour, Michelle flew privately out there to go to the tour, and like it's all love, like super real love, real relationship. Yeah. And that's really, I love seeing that part,
Yeah.
seeing them together, you know.
So when is the reunion tour?
I don't know anything about a
Lies.
reunion tour.
He heard
But guess
something.
what? I'm going to be there in the place. You know
Hello,
what I'm
I didn't take it so +1.
saying? Right.
2.
All three of us here. Okay. Yeah.
The other girls like
1, 2, 3. Like Brittany said, 1, 2, 3. Not only you
talked
win.
about her. So you could have got your ticket, girl. Oops.
Because she ain't even watching this.
She's like, I'm
She
dead.
ain't making this deep.
We have all kind
right,
of
we gotta
inside
wrap- We gotta
jokes.
start wrap this up, but I want to talk about they rode horses. I think horses are an animal that it is, like they said, it's not about what's inside the horse. Horses can feel you on so many levels, and I thought it was so interesting. These women were way too therapeutic, and like, it was like, first of all, like, girl, if I was Michelle, she's like, do you see the white horse Casper? What does that reflect on you? I would have looked at Michelle like,
no.
bitch, what are you trying to say? Excuse me.
Jesse keeps it very real, as we can see.
But I love Michelle. It makes me feel
Church
like
hands.
myself.
She's so classy. She's so
Like
classy.
I'm different, bitch. A ghost out here in y'all white town.
Hold on, but let me tell you what I thought, though. I thought Casper was about to be a Chad joke. Did you think that too? Like, when I saw the white horse, I'm like, okay, I thought they were about to say,
Well,
now that's
no,
Chad
it's not
over
a
there.
joke because it's a lot of brown horses. She's the only brown one there. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know, but I thought that was about to be a joke, but it turned out that she
Yeah.
said she felt more like the Casper horse or whatever. But
Yeah, I also
funny, though.
like literally. Here's what me and Michelle have in common. Yes, I can't. Don't ever take my man Ben. Never take me fishing.
Hello,
Fishing is
and
the
pushing
most
worms?
boring. And the
Ugh.
fact that they even have television shows where people sit and watch people fishing for like 45 minutes and 2 hours. I'm like,
we
They
need
didn't
you to
even
find
catch
a
one
life,
fish.
get a life.
They didn't catch one fish.
I watch golf. Over
No, the
fishing.
funny, that's boring too.
It is,
though.
but I'll watch golf over fishing.
Oh, overfish. No, it was hilarious when Chad said, "Oh, there's a fish," and then he's like, "Oh, it's swimming away."
And then you're gonna put a worm in my hand? No.
Exactly.
We're
I'm
done.
done. I don't fish. If I have to touch bugs, I'm good.
We're done. All right, really quick, special segment of the week, our vows of the week. All right, so we do this thing every week. Oh, you seen it last week?
Yeah, I saw the last.
I stuck to mine, y'all.
Did you?
I'm eating fruits all week. I got my melons.
because you said intermittent fasting. You're doing.
Yeah, but I learned this whole thing about fruit. So I eat my melons first thing in the morning. I wait 10 minutes, then I eat my acid fruits, and then I wait 20 minutes, and then I eat my subacid fruits.
And what happens?
Girl, feeling snatched. For real. So I've been doing it all week. I'm keeping it going. I actually am going to have a video. I have more energy, all this stuff. I'm going to put a video out of me trying all these different fruits because it took me a minute to eat a papaya.
You know, I didn't do good on mine last week because
No, it
I've been.
tasted like a vagina. I was like,
Oh.
the texture was just gross. Sorry.
I've been so busy. I did work on my reel, so I did some more interviews to add to the reel. I just haven't edited all the way. However, this week, my vow to myself is to be more open and go on a date. I'm going to go on one date this week.
Ooh, that's good.
All right. We want a picture next week. All right. What's
I
yours?
did. Hold on. So when I watched the show, I ended up doing a vow. My vow was to do a treatment a day. I didn't.
What kind of treatment?
treatment for a show.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
show
Well, I was
treatment.
like, I don't know. I thought we was gonna get deep. I was like, go
Oh
ahead.
no, I am 100% healthy. Let me just make sure that's clear.
I was like, I mean, it
no,
could be
I'm talking about treatment
treatment.
for
I was
TV. That's the only treatment I have
Okay, well, you
ever
took it out. I was
needed,
like,
yeah.
is it skin treatment? We're doing hand
facial?
treatment,
I'm
facial.
There, you gotta
to
be very clear with today in 2018.
Because I almost put
you know.
the papaya on my face. I was looking
And
up
tried
what do
some.
kiwis do.
No,
No,
so
avocado's
that was
good.
that was my vow, and I think my vow for this week.
Did you wait? You said you stuck to it?
Yeah,
Did you do
well,
it? Like 4,
You supposed to
4
every day?
like for yeah,
Oh.
yeah, because I
good.
have
And
so
set us
many
hour
things.
aside.
Yeah, so it's but almost. So my vow this week, you know what? I'm gonna send a text every single day to someone telling them that I love them and that I'm thinking of them.
I
you know?
like
Just
that.
let people know that they're on your mind. You know?
All right, that's good.
That's nice.
I love that. All right, let's head into predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
I hope this is editing because if sister come through with the attitude, her sister was like, I feel replaced. Girl, you should. You're not Teresa
Yeah.
Giudice, okay? Like, you and Teresa and Joe, they have way too much of a sibling relationship. I'm like, what happened when y'all was younger? So, sis, this better not be no Brokeback Dolores Mountain. You coming up here talking
You know, it's
about-
only 900 people in the city, so you gotta learn how to kiss from somewhere. now.
It better not
Oh,
be.
you talking about Chad's sister?
Isn't that who that is? I know that ain't Michelle's white sister.
No,
I'm
no.
like,
When you said, I'm still thinking about homegirl
Oh.
over here. That's why I was like, I said, you are. I wasn't talking to you, Chad's sister. I'm sorry. I thought he was talking about somebody else.
I mean, I'm sure it's not going to be that heated of a discussion, but
Yeah.
They-
Well,
they
this is
edited
what I
it.
think. I think Uncle Jim is gonna make it to the wedding.
me too.
She's still.
I do too.
That is his grandpa.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, Uncle
Grandpa
Jim. I
Jim.
fell into it though. I was like, Uncle Jim coming. Uncle Jim.
I don't know. I just say on country like Uncle Jim.
Oh, you think he's gonna come to the wedding? Ooh, I don't know.
Is he
I
that-
really want him to,
Yeah.
but I think that he's really stuck on that not coming only because his wife is dead and Grandpa Jim is still very present in his city. He's the city's locksmith. Like the city needs him. So I want him to come though.
Or I could see them doing a little ceremony
In
out there.
Dolores.
Yeah, a
That'd
little
be cute.
backyard barbecue.
Yeah, no. It's gotta be cute. Like we need like firefly lamps. Like I want like the wisps. I don't even know what those are called, but those things with the little cute gazebo, and they just gonna no backyard barbecue. Like Brandon, sit down. We're getting catering. Okay? Like you're tripping. Grandpa, you can bring the weed wine.
No,
whatever
what
it
did
is,
they call
baby
the
wine.
testicles? I mean,
Ooh,
those barbecue balls.
What
That
did they
was
call that?
disgusting.
It was called barbecue balls. Wait,
No, it wasn't. It was called something oysters.
Yeah.
Mountain something.
Rocky
Rocky
oysters.
Mountain oysters or
Yeah.
something like that. That's gross.
Those will not be served at the wedding. All right, George, thank you so much for coming in.
y'all.
You're gonna have to come back later in the
Yeah.
season.
Please let me come back. I had a blast with y'all.
Absolutely. Where can everyone follow you and keep in
You
contact?
can follow me on social media at TheJorgyPorgy, the Georgie Porgy.
Boom.
And I miss Conversation Piece. You can follow me on Conversation Piece on Instagram, MISS Convo Piece on Twitter.
Boom. Hit me up everywhere at DJ Jesse J. Also, make sure you guys stay tuned. Follow us at AfterBuzz TV across all social media platforms. And, we got a new reality after show coming to you guys. It's called The Reality Roast Monday nights, so make sure you guys tune in.
Yes, like, comment, subscribe right here. Tell us what you think about the show. Tell us what you think about George and me and Jesse.
What's your vows down below?
Yes.
Boom.
Do we buzz out like bzz or no?
Go
Is
ahead.
that corny?
Buzz you later.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.